A Visit to Cambridge by Firdaus Kanga begins with him taking a walking tour through Cambridge. During this tour, his guide mentioned that the famous astrophysicist Stephen Hawking lived there. The author had completely forgotten about this, and just as his tour ended, he went to a phone booth to contact him. He was able to talk to Hawking's assistant and explain to him that he had come all the way from India on a wheelchair. The assistant allowed him half an hour with the scientist from 3:30 to 4. The writer mentions how people often ask differently abled people to cheer up, as if they have a courage account they are too lazy to draw a check on. He feels the only thing that can make you stronger is seeing someone like you achieve something great. Stephen Hawking told him that he hadn't been brave and this was the only choice he had, although the writer is of a conflicting view. The author was guilty of making the scientist speak, as it took a lot of effort for him to tap on his little switch and find words in his computer. He was a man with a bright mind, but his computerized voice made his thoughts come out as frozen phrases. Stephen mentions that he finds it amusing when people patronize him. The writer then gives a description of Hawkins as to how he looks like a three-dimensional version of all his photographs in magazines. First impression of his appearance is shocking, but he is the embodiment of inner glow in a man. He made the author believe in eternal souls and that everything else is just an accessory. Hawkins thinks there is nothing good about being disabled, but the writer is of the view that it makes you realize the existence of kindness in the world. Further, upon being asked if he inspires a lot of people makes it any better for Stephen, he answered that it doesn't. For someone whose body is like a claustrophobic room whose walls are getting narrower day by day, it doesn't make much of a difference. The only advice Stephen had to offer to differently abled people is only to focus on things they are good at. The half an hour came to an end, and it was time for the writer to leave, but the scientist made him stay. He offered the writer tea and a tour of his garden. His garden was as big as a park, but Stephen covered every inch of it in his wheelchair while the writer dodged himself out of his way. They did not talk much in the sun. When it was time to leave, the author touched his shoulder and wheeled out. As he looked back, he could see an embodiment of his bravest self, the one he was moving towards and the one he had believed in for so many years.